This morning's Breakfast Bible Bytes is from Psalm 65 and verse 2. It will lead us into the dynamic conclusion of God's goal for humanity as citizens on the new earth. Psalm 65 and 2 reads, O you who hear prayer, to you all men come. David professes his God to be a personal God and not merely some abstract inclination. The passage literally addresses God as the hearer of prayer. To thee shall all flesh come. Someone wiser than I once said that there are no atheists in foxholes. When a person's life is threatened, we are privileged to seek comfort from our Creator. Our God is the hearer of prayers and by implication also as one who acts upon the received prayer. Therefore, we should be one of his most, this should be one of his most important attributes toward humankind. How dismal our life would be if our Creator never listens to our pleas for forgiveness, assuagement of our guilt, a cry for mercy from the suffering, the wounded, the troubled, and the dying. David understands that there is no one else able to help or able to offer eternal refuge. When David writes to you all men, he is referring to the one to whom all men must come. He is at the very least being prophetic, for that has yet to happen, as most still reject him. Perhaps David is inspired by God's Spirit to speak of the time of those last days, as did Isaiah, although long ago in our past. He lived far into David's future. There we read on the millennial kingdom when Christ is physically enthroned in Jerusalem. In Isaiah 2:2 it reads, In the last days the mountain of the Lord's house will be established on top of the mountains, and it will be raised above the hills. All nations will stream to it, and many people will come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his ways, so that we may walk in his paths. For instruction will go out from Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will settle disputes among the nations and provide arbitration for many people. They will turn their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up the sword against other nations, and they will never again train for war. Now Romans 14:10 through 12 speaks of that day at the end of the millennial reign of Christ on earth, when every person will acknowledge their Creator. For we will all stand before the tribunal of God. For it is written, As I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue will give praise to God. So then each of us will give an account of himself to God.